welcome back to Lydia's Family Life. I'm so excited you're here with me in my kitchen today. I have a special recipe for you guys. It's a European dessert. It's called Cremes. Now the way I make it, I put an American twist to it because I wanted to kind of simplify it and make it a little bit more easy and something that anyone can make in a pinch. Super easy, fairly inexpensive, and wonderful for the holidays. So let's get to it and show you guys what it takes to make this delicious dessert. Okay, so the ingredients you guys need are super simple. The start of the show, the puff pastries. So you're gonna need some puff pastries that are not frozen. You can keep them in your fridge. And then you're just gonna need some cooking spray, a rolling pin, a whisk, and a spatula. And then over here, I have some extra flour, and that's gonna be for the puff pastries when we roll it out. 32-ounce heavy whipping cream. You wanna use heavy whipping cream. You can use just whipping cream, but it just turns out better with heavy. And then over here, I have about 2 cups of milk, and we might not use all of it, and I'll show you guys what I mean by that. 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 2 teaspoons of cream of tart, and then over here, I have 7 tablespoons of powdered sugar, and you can adjust that. If you don't like it too sweet, you can use less, and then if you want it more sweet, just add more. And then in this bowl, I just have 4 of these instant vanilla pudding mixes. With this, you do not want to follow the directions and make the instant vanilla pudding the way they say it, and I'll show you guys in a second what I mean by that. And then over here is just a cookie sheet and my KitchenAid mixer. If you don't have this, you can just use a hand mixer. It'll turn out just fine. So let's get to it.
Alright you guys, so for the rest of the video, I'm just going to do a voiceover. So what you want to do is you want to get some flour and put it on your counter, on your surface, and a little bit on your rolling pin, and then you want to roll out your puff pastry. And this is why it's so important that it's not frozen. I actually like to keep it at room temperature for a little bit so that it's very easy to work with. And then just stretch it out and make it as big as your cookie sheet or your pan. And if you have extra dough just hanging over on the edges, you can cut that off. It's no big deal. And then what you want to do is you want to take a fork with some flour and just poke holes throughout it. That way it cooks evenly and it doesn't bubble up in the oven when you cook the puff pastry. And it'll be nice and even. Once you have it on a cookie sheet, put it in your oven. That should be preheated at 400 degrees for just a few minutes till it's golden brown. Then take it out and go ahead and put it on a cookie sheet and just let it cool down. So while your first puff pastry is cooling down, you want to go ahead and repeat the process and get your second puff pastry in the oven, and then they both have time to cool down and be nice and cold for when your filling is done. So moving on, we're going to go ahead and get our heavy whipping cream in our mixture and get that going. I start on slow to medium because it does splatter everywhere, and then you can increase the speed gradually. You want to get in your 7 tablespoons of powdered sugar and just let that incorporate nice and slowly so that you don't get powdered sugar all over yourself. Ask me how I know from experience. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our vanilla extract. Get that in there. And then afterwards, once it gets to a nice consistency, like I'm showing you guys right now, that's when you want to keep mixing it a little bit more. So what we're going to do to thicken it up, we're going to add our cream of tart. And I added about 2 teaspoons of that. If your heavy whipping cream is a little bit different, or you're using whipping cream, then you might add a little bit more, and you can adjust to what you need. Alright you guys, so this is what your heavy whipping cream should look like. It is nice and thick, and it is not running off your spatula. You can see it's sticking to my spatula quite well. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make our instant vanilla pudding filling, and all you do is put your instant vanilla pudding in a bowl, and then we're going to gradually add cold milk, and we're going to end up using both 2 cups. And what you want to do with this, it's really important, this is the hardest part, is you want to mix it very quickly so it doesn't set up on you. And then what you do here is you fold in the heavy whipping cream with the instant vanilla pudding, and you make a nice filling. And this makes a big amount. It makes a generous amount of filling, and we're going to be able to cover that huge puff pastry sheet very easily with that. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to spread it out on your puff pastries, on just one of your puff pastries. And if you don't spread it out even, that's okay, because once we put the topping and the powdered sugar, nobody will ever know. It'll be our little secret. It's a very forgiving dessert, you guys. So one thing you want to keep in mind with this dessert, the longer it sits in the fridge, the better it tastes. So if by some miracle we have leftovers the next day, because it's usually gone within a day, it does taste even better. So you want to let it sit in the fridge for at least an hour or two after making it before cutting into it. Now, you don't have to. And believe me, a lot of times I don't do that because everybody wants it right away. It is all cooked and ready to go. So you could go ahead and cut into it and eat it right away. But trust me, you want to let it sit a little bit. It just, the flavors kind of marinate together. It's really good. So one trick I have with cutting this, making it easier, is you want to go ahead and run your knife through some cold water, and that's going to make it a lot easier to cut into it. And then kind of wipe your knife off in between each slice. That's just a little trick that I've kind of learned throughout the years for it, and it just kind of helps out. So for the topping, this is a little bit of fun, which if you have little kiddos, they would probably enjoy doing, is just breaking the other puff pastry into little pieces, and you just want to go ahead and cover as much as you want. You don't have to use the whole other puff pastry. A lot of times I have a little bit of leftover, and that's okay. But if you do want to use all of it, more topping, that's fine too. So if you like a lot of topping, put all of it. Just crumble it and just kind of cover the whole filling, and it's going to be absolutely delicious. Last step, cut it into pieces and go ahead and sprinkle some powdered sugar, and this is just going to cover any imperfections, and it's going to make it look beautiful because Christmas is around the corner and it's going to look like snow. It is a perfect dessert for the holidays. I thank you guys so much for spending time with me today in my kitchen. I hope you try this. I hope you like it. If you do, give me a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.